What happens if you purchase a property but can't close because your funds are tied up due to political unrest and the collapse of a sale that you expected to close? In the case of Liddell versus Mousavi, 2024, the sellers were awarded over $250,000. In this case, the plaintiffs, Donald and Margaret Liddell, sued the defendant, Maria Mousavi, over her failure to close a real estate purchase for their property at an agreed price of $1,350,000. Mousavi, citing financial difficulties, sought to extend the closing date multiple times, which the plaintiffs declined. Mousavi ultimately failed to provide the funds by the July 22, 2022 closing date, breaching the Unconditional Agreement of Purchase and Sale, APS. The plaintiffs subsequently relisted the property, selling it 8 months later for $1,100,000, a $250,000 shortfall from the original sale price. Mousavi argued that the APS was frustrated due to events beyond her control, including the inability to access inherited funds from Afghanistan amid political unrest and the collapse of a separate property sale. She also raised the doctrines of force majeure and frustration in her defense. The court ruled in favor of the plaintiffs, finding that the APS did not include a force majeure clause, so Mousavi could not rely on that doctrine. The doctrine of frustration was inapplicable, as Mousavi's financial challenges were foreseeable and not supervening events that fundamentally altered the nature of the contract. Mousavi's failure to complete the transaction constituted a breach of the APS. The plaintiffs were awarded $280,739.28 in damages, including the $250,000 shortfall and $30,739.28 in carrying costs. Key takeaways. Unconditional contracts are binding. Entering into an unconditional agreement means parties cannot later cite personal or external financial challenges to avoid their obligations. Force majeure requires explicit clauses. Without a force majeure clause in the agreement, parties cannot claim relief from obligations due to unforeseen events. Duty to mitigate, sellers must take reasonable steps to minimize their losses after a breach. The plaintiffs relisted the property promptly and were found to have acted reasonably. Thank you for watching. For more legal insights and case summaries, stay tuned.